All right. Hello and welcome. We lost Mary in OBS again. Oh, she's
And
back.
there's an echo.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh
Oh
yeah.
dear.
There's an echo again.
Not now.
Okay.
Well, that's bizarre. It's a very delayed echo.
Yeah. All right. Hello. My name's Mary. I go by Rain Online. I am um, a VTuber slash streamer and a content creator. I think that was. Anyway, Mike, your turn.
Is that how you are?
Mike, your turn. Introduce yourself.
Okay, sure. Hey everybody, my name is Mike Wing. I am a disability advocate, a person with a disability, a pro epic gamer because, I played Lethal Company one time and I died like a badass in quicksand. So, um, yeah. That is who I am. I am also the funny one of the group. Funny looking or funny haha is up to you. But I will pass it to the gentleman above me, which would be Mr. Alec.
Okay, so what am I supposed to say again?
You're supposed to introduce yourself.
Sorry, I have.
Who are you?
So I'm Alex. I am. What am I? That's a good question. Who am I?
Well,
What
right
is
now
the
you're a
meaning of
moderator,
my?
so.
So I'm. I suppose I'm the moderator. So I don't know. I'm here to keep everyone out of trouble.
Well, are you a disability advocate? Are you a person with a disability? Are you a
So I have many hats that I wear in the disability community. One being, so I'm a disability worker. I wasn't doing that for a while, but I recently got a job in the field, and I'm particularly happy about that. But I also wear the hat of being a person with a disability myself, both physical and a developmental disability. Um, so it's nice to be able to help people from that genuine lived experience lens. And I'm also really passionate about disability advocacy and human rights. And I mean, not just within the disability sphere. I have a lot of interest in that area.
All right. Why don't we go to Grant? Grant, why don't you introduce yourself?
Because I don't want to? Oh, that wasn't a question. That was a question in the form of a suggestion. Okay. Um, my name's Grant. I'm someone who's been engaged in social and environmental justice activism since I was a kid. My mom took me to my first political protests. Um, got involved in disability advocacy, gosh, around the turn of the century. You can tell by the gray hair I've been at this for a while. Um, and I have so far 4 and counting different diagnoses of forms of neurodivergence. Uh, and yeah, trying to make this a better world in spite of itself. So who's next?
I believe. Sorry, Carrie. We're gonna go with Mary. Mary, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name Hi, my name is Mary Salvani, and I'm a disability rights advocate and ally. I have family members with disabilities, and I also have a disability too.
By the way, I just realized in my OBS I can see Mary now, so I don't know how that happened, but anyway.
Carrie, your turn.
Hey everyone, thanks for having me. My name is Carrie McKickern. I'm an advocate, an ally, a person with a disability, a family member of someone with a disability, and a former spouse of someone with a disability. And I'm sorry there's a whole bunch of noise outside my window because somebody is here doing my spring cleanup. So it's very loud, but I hope it's not too bad of a distraction.
I
and
think
I'm
it's
happy to
fine.
be here. Thank you for inviting me.
All right. So, yeah, I go by Ray and Ellie almost everywhere online except for my gaming channel, which is Wolf Angel Gaming. Mike is known as the anti-ableist online,
Yeah.
and
No, I go by Mike. But my channel, TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram is the anti-ableist. Yeah.
okay. Grant, why don't you explain our mission?
Okay. So this is a collective of disability self-advocates supporting each other in online video streaming and supporting new folks getting into streaming. Uh, in terms of our mission, we want to maintain connection among self-advocates. We want to showcase the talents of people with disabilities. And we want to ensure that the human rights of people with disabilities are fully met. People with disabilities are fully included in society and culture. People with disabilities are not put into poverty. And accessibility needs are fully accommodated as needed. Uh, yeah, that's the short and the long of it.
All right. Mike is going to explain real quickly why, who we are, and why we think we are a decent person to do this.
We are a decent person to do that. We are one person. We are not multiple people. We're just
Yep,
one big
one
cluster of
person.
people.
You're the universe.
So yeah. Uh, Thank you everybody for watching the stream. We are a group of, as we have introduced ourselves, people with disabilities and allies, um, who have a passion for streaming and content creation, and we wanted to create as Grant said, a collective of streamers and content creators who have lived experience of disability and understand some of the accessibility barriers that folks with disabilities face, particularly in the content creation space or streaming space. And so we wanted to create something that would help break down some of those barriers for people, and allow them to, really get into content creation. Um, because, when I first got into content creation, I got into it because I watched content creators who showed their real authentic self, and they didn't, pretend to be something that they learned online, and that really encouraged me to start creating content and, just talk about authentic real problems and authentic real issues that people with disabilities face. um and so anybody should be able to do that. So this collective is, yeah, just that, a space to uh help people follow their passion, follow their dreams, in an accessible way,
And spread disability awareness.
and spread disability awareness as well. Yes,
Uh,
and also play games and die in quicksand and be proud of it.
the way we think about disability advocacy in our in terms of streaming is the idea of planting a seed in people's brains, um, to uh, help them understand and be aware and accepting of people with disabilities, and eventually make content relating to people with disabilities.
And I think like one of the issues that just happened was in here in Alberta, was the defunding of disability advocacy groups, like the Health Advocacy Federation and the Disability Action Hall and Health Region Health Advocacy Network. And so I used my TikTok platform to talk about that issue, and it amassed like over 40,000 views. Um, and people are angry. People are upset. These are everyday people who, I told them about the issue, and they said that is bullshit, and I don't like that, and what can I do, and how can I help? So, yeah, like Mary said, it's to raise awareness and to help people understand and be allies to the disability community,
All
Or
right.
feel empowered themselves if they have a disability.
Mm-hmm.
but not
Um.
empowered.
Yeah, that's. I mean, we could go on and on about that word.
I know, I know.
I don't know why that came to mind.
Um. So we are there to help people get into content creation, and we are here. The ways we can help is by making tutorials, accessible tutorials, and plain language tutorials. We can help with model creation because we know that not everybody wants to show their face, and some people might want to have a model instead. So that is another thing that we can do. We are here to help with collaboration between creators, to help with scheduling and uh, making sure that streams don't overlap. So we are here for a lot of things. We are here to help you um, in whatever ways you need. Now, there are some things we cannot help you with. Such as if your hardware, aka your computer or your tablet or your laptop, just won't allow you to stream, we unfortunately cannot provide that. We cannot provide new hardware. If you mess up and get canceled on social media, we cannot help you with that. That is you. Um, so we do have a short video um, about showcasing what we can uh, do as what you can do as creators. Uh, I will be speaking over it in order to help those with visual impairments or but if you also have a hearing impairment, everything is written down. Well, not everything, but the basics are written down. If anyone else doesn't have anything else to add, I will go to the video.
The only thing that I have to ask
Oh, go ahead.
are you just gonna show your screen?
No, I have it set up.
Okay.
All right. Let's try this again. So, things you can do. You can animate. Here I've animated an eye blink. Uh, you can also animate using Canva or other such platforms. These are animations made by the lovely Alex. You can also do rigging. This is essentially the process of making models move. Here I'm just doing the eyes, it's the easiest thing to do. Yeah, so you make them move, and that is something you can do if you have an interest in it. One of the things that can be done is thumbnails. We are looking for people who will help make thumbnails, and if people are comfortable just creating their own, then perfect. Live2D is the program that you can use models in, so they track your face and follow. You can change all the parameters. There's usually no need to, but you can change the parameters. This is a model I made and drew and rigged. You can play games. In this case, we're showcasing free-to-play games. but if you have some that are fun, you can do playthroughs if that's something that interests you, or tutorials on how to play. This is a game called Genshin. It's one of my favorites. It's also simple setups. There's no... there's not much barrier to entering the streaming world or the content creation world. So you can do it with a laptop, you can do it with a tablet, you can do it with a phone. You can also do it with a desktop, as we'll show soon. Yeah, soon. There you go. So yeah, you can have simple setups, as simple as you want. Like I said, we can't help you with hardware, but usually it's not much of an issue. You can also do some writing. I personally am an author. You can also do art. Here I am drawing just an eye, because I love eyes. Here's some more art from our lovely elf advocate, Alex. And then there's always editing. If you want to create videos and instead of streaming, you can edit. You can also sing. That is an option. And you can play with friends. Content creation is not limited to one person. I hope that was all right.
To my stream. I know that the video is still playing. That is because I didn't set this up beforehand because I sort of forgot about the video. So that's okay. But yeah, one thing I want to add, so my computer is actually very old. I've been told that my computer is ancient. And I actually am working with some people to hopefully get another computer, a better computer. But when I played Lethal Company with the wonderful Mary, it actually did work, and that was with just using OBS. So don't think that just because you have an ancient computer, it means necessarily that you can't stream. You may be able to.
All right. So, we are going to do a quick thing on what you can do and what we're looking for right now, specifically what we're looking for right now. So, right now, we are still in the setting up stage for our collective. So, we are mostly looking for backstage help. People, researchers, video editors, sign language interpreters, animators, artists, coordinators, organizers, content curators, moderators. That's kind of what we're looking for right now. So yeah, we. Whoa, brain's lagging. Sorry. So yeah, that's what we're looking for. We're mostly looking for backstage help at the moment. But eventually, and we will have a Google Forms. I will actually link it right away. There you go. So I will be putting the responder link in my chat. I will also have it on my YouTube at Ryan Aeli or at Wolf Angel Gaming. Mike should also be able to put it in his chat. Mike, are you having some issues with that?
Yes, just give me one moment.
Right, and I've pinned the link to the top of the chat on Discord.
Uh, you mean Twitch?
Yeah, Twitch, duh. Oh my gosh, I can't remember the names of all of
The
the various
platforms?
platforms. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. I did send the link through Discord, Mike, so that you could just copy and paste it.
Yes, again, I am afraid to open too many things, so I'm just copying it and then,
Okay.
uh, yeah. Okay. Yes, and I
So,
will also put that in my
chat.
chat. Yeah.
So we will be having another one later on with another stream, inviting streamers and content creators to join. We have a different Google Forms for that. For now, we are looking mostly for backstage help. Now, it seems we've lost Mary.
Yeah, she seems to be having some issues with Video Ninja, disconnecting.
Oh. Okay,
Um,
well, we'll start with Carrie then. If
so,
so, Carrie, we have a few questions for you, as our resident guest here, um, as an ally and as a person with disabilities. So the first question is, what change do you want to see in the world to make things better for people with disabilities?
I'd like to see policies that give equity. I think that a lot of um, a lot of what we have going on, it's very ableist, right? And so I'm even like finding that in my new search for employment is where's the equity for somebody who's a little bit older now? I'm older, I'm neurodiverse, I know kind of what I do and do not like, but I'm wondering about like opportunities, right? Like where are those opportunities that um, should be there for everyone? So I'd like to see policy changes that are really inclusive of people. And I'd actually like to see people with disabilities holding those positions that of policy development.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'd like to see more people involved in politics and running for politics and being those change makers, starting even at the school level, right? Like school trustees and then municipal. I think it's like integral to inclusion.
All right. Are you ready for the second question?
I am.
What challenges do you face as a disabled person, or what do challenges do disabled people face in general?
Well, we always believe that the biggest barriers to people with disabilities are poverty, um, ableism, um, and access. And so I think those are the biggest barriers. And as somebody who is late diagnosed and as a woman, I think that um, there were barriers that I didn't even realize were barriers. Like I think about in my growing up and school, right? Like I always got those comments. Carrie's very smart, but she doesn't apply herself, or Carrie's
Yeah.
very smart, but she takes like she goes through it too quickly and makes too many mistakes. And so then they try to give me more work to keep me occupied. But I have to say that after a lifetime, I was diagnosed about 5 years ago when my daughter was diagnosed. And the doctor said that actually happens a lot, that women, like I remember my
Hmm.
daughter went for diagnosing when she was really little and she was in kindergarten, and they're like, yeah, she has it, but it's not to a point where she can't participate. She had a lot of struggles, like socially in school, not academically, but socially. And only about 5 years ago, when she was really struggling and we both went, it's when I was diagnosed as well. So I think like a lifetime of not having those jobs, not knowing what my aptitude was and how burnout, when you're doing the wrong thing, can really affect you if you're neurodivergent. Like it can almost
Mm.
scorch you, right? Scorch your soul. I think if I would have recognized that earlier, and like how I've been able to do with the Self Advocacy Federation, is carve out parts of the job that I don't like, that bore me, that I'm not good at, right? So, like, let's talk about streaming. I have no idea what's going on here. I'm just trusting you folks that you know what you're doing, because, like, I have no idea, and I don't want to learn. I'm at that age where I don't want to learn new stuff. So I have a lot of respect for that, but I also have a lot of what I've developed is a lot of compassion for myself. I was always like go 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 go, right? Like it was always, I was a high achiever. I'm an oldest child. um, my youngest brother has a significant disability, so the responsibility of uh, like was always felt heavily in our family. I felt like I really had to grow up quickly, and I didn't really have a lot of joy in my life. And that, coupled with my disability and coupled with, really just trying to, over a lifetime of, well, I raised kids on my own, and trying to find work that was compatible with my aptitude and the ability to raise children and make a living and support them, has been really kind of a lifetime that has led to a lot of um, like stress, right? And then you talk about somebody who's late diagnosed, and it explains a lot of things. Like when I was young, I used to work a lot. I used to gamble. I used to drink, right? Like, and just trying to manage my disability because I wasn't medicated. That dopamine rush, that search for dopamine, that search for anything that can help me organize my thoughts and help me. Sorry, I'm a little bit distracted with the yard work here, but it could help me really make sense of things. Like I lived in chaos for a very long time. And part of it is ADHD and part of it is CPTSD. They mimic each other. So I think those things get lost in each other. And, so you think, okay, it's just because it's maybe CPTSD and you go to counseling or something and it's like, it's not working for you. And it's like, it's not working for you because neurodivergence can't be treated with CBT therapy. Right? Like it's just who you are. And so I think if I would have had that knowledge about who I was and my understanding, I would have made a lot of different choices in my life when it came to um, jobs and even like partners. I think about the partners that I chose, that if I would have known that I had ADHD, I probably would have made different choices. So the barriers of really like being of really not even realizing you have a disability, right? Like I think not even realizing the accommodations that were available, I think, and not being diagnosed is a huge barrier for people. Does that make sense? Like I'm talking to someone who was late diagnosed as a female, and the barriers for me, because I wasn't diagnosed, I faced a lot more challenges that I should have faced. And so some of those barriers were like just really not being aware of, of my disability and really why I acted a certain way or why I behaved and why I chose jobs and why I made decisions.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I tend to ramble, so you can give me a sign if I'm going on.
No worries. Uh, since we've lost our second guest, you have all the time in the world.
Oh, there he is.
um. Oh no, I'm not the second yet. Sorry, I'm eating. I was brought food.
Mm, nice.
Um, but Kelly, my mom was also late diagnosed, and like I remember as a kid, some of the things that she would do, and some of the things that being a bit scatterbrained. I don't know if that's the correct term, so I apologize. Um, but not being able to be fully present. I feel like, and
Mhm.
I remember she called me one day, this is when I became an adult. And she said, "So I was just diagnosed with ADHD," and she said, "Do you think that I have that?" And I thought back on my childhood, and I'm like, yeah, that would make a lot of sense.
I
So
like what you said about not being fully present. I just want to keep that thought. Sorry for interrupting. Continue.
no, that's okay. But um, yeah, and like I actually have a lot of compassion for people like you and my mom who were diagnosed with ADHD later in life, because I can't imagine like from seeing some of the things that you both go through, and some of the similarities. It just makes me have a deeper understanding and a deeper compassion for um I guess the mental struggles that you probably had to deal with, and not knowing like what was happening or why it was happening. So
Well, it's funny because like I interrupted you. That has been the thing that I've done for my entire life. And it's funny, my sister and I were in the car with my mom the other day, and like we're like, oh my God, she has it too. Like this makes so much sense over a lifetime.
yeah,
And the thing about not being fully present, right? Like I have as a parent, I have a lot of regret because I know I wasn't fully present because I was burned out. Just
yeah,
trying to be typical, right? Just trying to be neurotypical. And one of the things like about that my neurodivergence is like I really don't like to hug. I don't like to be touched.
yeah.
And like as a mother, that's a really difficult thing to be aware of. And um, like I've really had to flex to be present, to be affectionate, to be huggy, right? And it's like if I would have known I was diagnosed, I would have been aware of my responsibility to have to kind of flex through that and create spaces in car spaces so that I could take care of myself, so I could be fully present. That was a
Do
huge
do
part that was
you do you think that it would have been a matter of you having to flex through it, or do you think it more would have been a matter of, oh, this is why I am this way, and like it would have given you an opportunity to make people more accepting and more aware of like this is my disability.
yeah. I think so, right? Because I, um, I'm fortunate that I have very good friends, and I did have friends throughout high school, but not as a kid, right? Like I didn't
Right.
have a lot of friends as a kid, and I think it was because like I was not aware of my own, um, like how I inserted myself in people's lives, and then also that kind of um, anxious attachment of what I had as somebody with ADHD, and I'm sure I was exhausting for people. But now as a woman, as an older woman, with my female friends, I have to also say that if you have ADHD and you go through menopause, that is quite the trip. I don't know, like it is really the trip, like because menopause also causes some similar things like brain fog. Menopause causes, yeah, brain fog. Like, so put that on top of ADHD, and like I have to write things down constantly now, and I know that part of reason why I interrupt is because I will forget it. I will
Yeah.
literally forget it, and so if it's important, I have to write it down. But yeah, I mean, yeah, like maybe it would have helped me understand a little bit better. but I don't like. I think that's probably one of the biggest regrets I have is not being fully present for my children. But
Yeah,
I think that comes from like really like having a life that does not is not conducive to somebody with ADHD. And but in I also I had this epiphany. Um, Sorry if I'm rambling. Um,
okay,
I was so busy as a single parent. I had two children who played competitive sports and they played all the sports. And I realized I kept myself busy because it actually kept me organized. Because when I have too much
right,
time, I like I have to set 15 alarms. I had to set 3 alarms just to remind me of our meeting today. Because if I'm not busy, my
yeah,
brain just kind of is free to fly. But when
yeah,
I'm busy, it just kind of keeps me going. And I think I kept myself busy for all those years because I was afraid that if I stopped, I wouldn't be able to function. I don't know if
yeah.
anybody else with ADHD has those same
I feel like
experiences.
my mom probably does. My mom could probably relate with that.
As someone with ADHD, I do kind of relate, but I also have the autism to counterbalance. So,
Right, right. Yeah.
I just want to add one more thing, and then I'll let somebody else ask questions. Carrie, I just want to say, like, no, understanding and knowing that my mom, like, has ADHD and that is why she is the way she is, like, it helped me understand why she wasn't fully present when I was a kid, and like, I think it's made me more compassionate to that fact, and like I can't speak for your kids, but it is possible that they feel that way too.
Well, my both of my children have ADHD, and we also have a lot of sensory integration concerns. Like, for example, I also have misophonia, and so does my oldest. So that's like the hatred of certain sounds. We have never eaten at the table together outside of a big family event
Right,
because we both have well we both and then my youngest too but not to the extent like have some severe sensory issues around food and like when you realize like oh my gosh like we don't even sit at the same table to eat and that's where a lot of families really come together is through meals and eating together and that's when you kind of share your day and talk and I realized that because of that and because I didn't realize like that I had ADHD that is a really impactful thing for kids like to kind of think oh like why don't we eat as a family because mom's going to go off the handle at the slightest sound and it's not going to be pleasant but they had it too but we find other ways like so if we are eating one's in the living room one's in the dining room one's in the kitchen and the TV's on so if there's noise we can handle it but if there's no noise and we're just eating it's awful awful. So I think knowing if I would have known that earlier in my parenting life would have been a lot different. I think I would have been a little bit more gentler with myself and with my kids too.
People talk a lot about masking
Hmm.
in dealing with neurodivergence, and I mean, for me, yes, there's the stuff that's masking to prevent the appearance of neurodivergence around the neurotypicals. But the bigger masking in my experience was the masking to myself. You
Hmm.
know, you know, the sort of self-denial and which ends up coming out in terms of, you know, self-dislike or,
Yeah, it's shame.
being like, yeah, the shame kind of stuff.
Shame.
So
Yeah.
what sort of stuff have you experienced around masking and what sort of insights
Oh,
as you've come to this late diagnosis, what are your thoughts around that?
exhaustion. I'm like,
Yes.
why am I so burned out? Like, even, well, I'll tell you, like the other day, like I had an online meeting and I have, that the SAF has lost their funding. So I haven't been online for a while and I really haven't been in work mode, but I have a couple commitments that need to be tied up. And I was in a meeting yesterday. I'm like, I cannot do this. I cannot do this. I cannot do this anymore. Not one more day, right? And it's that masking of having to be on all the time. And then it's like a 2 hour meeting can take up 8 hours of my day because I need 6 hours to recover from that. And so I realized, like, going forward, the type of work that I'm going to have to do is probably going to be more tactile, uh, like physical, rather than like creative. Um, I need more structure, and when I don't have structure, like, it exhausts me.
One of the things I found before I got some of my diagnoses, I had some diagnosis when I was younger and then some later. Um, I picked up knitting about
Oh yeah.
15, 20 years ago, something like that. Yeah, it must be about 20 years ago now. And that was a revelation for me because I could sit in a meeting with knitting and all of a sudden I had more focus because I had this. It's sort of like it's one of those, where they have, like, what do they call them? The fidget spinners and things like that. It was something that just engaged enough of my brain
Oh
activity
yeah, yeah.
that I could use my brain to actually focus on what people were saying. I remember being in what was a presentation that I would have dozed off in, you know, traditionally. But with the knitting, I was actually able to pay attention to the speaker through their presentation. I was just like, wow, I wish I had had this in school.
I
Because,
don't.
like,
I'm just shocked because I just had an epiphany
uh-huh,
with
to
that. I
share.
used to crochet
Yeah.
and the same thing, but I never connected it to helping me think better while there was a meeting on.
Yeah.
Uh, I guess that is like I used to doodle a lot. That should have been a good
Hmm.
clue. And then of course with social media and phones, like sometimes like just being on your phone when you're in a meeting kind of helps you focus a little bit more. But I never connected crocheting with my with that. And
Hmm.
why didn't I? Like, that's so obvious. I saw it in other people, but not in myself.
That phrase, I saw it in other people, but I didn't see it in myself. That, oh, so many of us can make use of that phrase.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just shocked because, like, just
Yeah,
listening to you share
exactly.
that, it's like, why didn't I see that?
Well, again, masking to ourselves. Like I, I joined the Disability Action Hall back, again, like I said, around the turn of the century, and I was there as an ally. I did not consider myself a person with a disability, and you know, I had been involved with the Action Hall for over a decade before I was like, oh, wait a minute, you know, uh,
Wait a minute. Yeah,
you
wait a
know?
minute. Yeah. Like, what drew me here, right? Well,
Yeah.
yeah, before you realize that. Yeah, it's when you have a revelation, right? It also brings in a whole bunch of ableist thoughts and how you may your perceptions of what other people and like when you think about ADHD or when I think about it, I'm harkened back to like the 70s growing up in school and it was the boys, right? It was they were hyperactive.
Mhm.
And then Ritalin was a huge thing. So then all the boys got Ritalin and then they were just stoned out of their minds. And the girls got ignored.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of sexism around disability as well.
Yeah. There are still people who think that girls can't have ADHD,
Yeah,
that it's a boy thing. And it's
yeah,
like, no,
yeah.
nope.
And those gender roles, right, as being,
Hmm.
um, I'll speak for myself on being a woman and gender roles on being a parent and disability, and women really not taking that time for self care when they are parents and how that contributes to that ADHD burnout as well.
I
Yeah, these are
believe
a lot.
Alex had something to mention.
So,
Mm-hmm.
Alex, the floor is yours.
Can you all hear me?
We
Yeah,
can.
we can now.
yes.
Okay, is there a delay?
I think so. I think there might be.
Yeah, I have no clue what's going on because I was asking questions earlier, but then I didn't realize that y'all couldn't hear me.
Oh no,
Well,
we can hear you
Sorry.
now.
you were muted earlier, so that might have been it.
Yeah, so I unmuted myself, but where is this delay coming from?
I'm not sure. Did you have a question for Carrie or Grant?
See, I'm technologically challenged because my ADHD doesn't let me focus for long enough to actually learn how to fix these things.
Fair.
Oh,
I mean, I
are
still
you
listen to my
listening?
music on vinyl records. And I think
Are
that's relating back to the tactile thing that you brought up, Carrie. It just makes the experience so much more engaging and it gives the dopamine that's needed to focus.
Mm-hmm.
Alex, are you listening on the Twitch? Because the Twitch has about a
Yeah.
5 second
I
delay, I
just, I
think.
mean,
Because the
oh, okay, that would be it. Okay, I'll switch
the
back.
website that
I'll
we're
switch
using
over
for the
to,
audio sharing, video sharing, is the live feed, and then the Twitch has a delay.
okay. Well, that's much better.
Okay.
Okay, now I just have to take a moment to remember what I was going to ask because Carrie, I mean, I just want to thank you so, so, so much for sharing and for being open like that because you brought up so much relevant information and I mean, there's so much wisdom we can all gain from your story. And I also like I know you feel so hard on yourself about not being present for your kids, but the one thing that I've learned about parenting, I mean, I'm not a parent. I hope I someday get to be able to become one. I really want to be a dad, but um the one thing that kids notice above anything else is love. And you, like with all of your interactions, it's just so clear. I mean, how much compassion you have, and just what a caring person you are and passionate person.
Mm. Well, thank you, Alex. I've learned a lot from you as well. Like you hold a lot of grace for people, and you have a lot of compassion for where people are um, at at the moment, right? So I've never felt that judgment from you. So I want to thank you for that as well.
You see, I'm glad you feel
Like,
that
you've
way
been
because
one of
I'm,
my mentors actually around discovering and working through my ADHD diagnosis over the last few years.
yeah. Aw. I mean, I'm honored to be in that position. Because the funny thing is so I have that imposter syndrome where I always think, okay, like nobody's understanding me, or the whole masking thing, like I'm not presenting as normal. And I mean, that it takes just so much energy to try to present yourself as a certain
Mhm.
way when it goes against all of just your natural instincts and I mean the way that you experience the world. And like especially when you were talking about I mean your family not being able to sit around the dinner table and socialize like a normal family, I think you have found a really powerful way of like working through that limitation. And I mean you're all eating together but it just looks different, right?
We're eating together separately.
Yeah, that's totally valid. This reminds me of this shirt I bought for my partner who's also neurodivergent. And what was it? It was said, "Introverts unite separately in your own homes." So I mean, it's like like it's just finding, like embracing the way that you exist
And
because there's. Hmm?
I'm having more compassion for my children and actually my own mother right? Like realizing, like it was funny because my mom used to do patterns, and that's what she kind of taught us. Like we would do when we were on road trips, it would be games and word searches and making out letters and like, and I recognize that as pattern recognition. She always did that. And even now she'll do that, or she'll doodle. And seeing
My
a
my
76
mom has
woman,
Duolingo.
yeah, but seeing her as a 76-year-old woman who was never diagnosed, and it's like, wow, 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 right? Like, wow, what would her life have been different if she was
Yeah,
diagnosed 50, 60 years ago?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just I'm impressed with just how far we've come. I know ableism is still very much prevalent in society, and it's something that every single disabled person has to endure on a day-to-day basis. But
Mhm.
I'm really impressed with the intentional sense of community that's being created around just validating neurodivergence and just learning how to
Mhm.
relate to each other and to show compassion in a neurodivergent way, and then also accepting that it's okay, it's okay the way that you exist, the way that you communicate.
Right. And
Yeah.
I hope like now in schools, my daughter's going to, she's studying to be a teacher, and she also has ADHD, and so she knows how important it is to keep kids engaged. And so I hope like as kids are going through the school system that they are learning differently, right? Like I learn by doing. And I wish there would have been a school. There was a school that I wanted to put my daughter in, but I couldn't. It was too far away. It's called the Caraway program. I don't know if anyone's
I
heard
think
of
I've
it.
heard of that. Yeah,
It's amazing. So it's like they take your aptitude. So say, for example, you're really good at music. Well, music and math have a lot of similarities. So they would take your love for music and they would use music to teach you almost all the other subjects. Or like if you're doing math, like maybe you're building a birdhouse, right? You're doing hands-on things. And I think if um, I would have had an opportunity to learn like that, I would have
oh
been a
yeah,
completely different human being, right? Like, and I think about my kids too, like learning, like for example, the the one who's going to be a teacher, she's she tries to make it like, what's the kid into? Okay, the kid's into hockey. Well, let's learn fractions with hockey then, right? Like really just hands-on things that and strategies that people didn't know about.
It's so interesting that you bring that up because I'm reflecting now upon, I mean, the work I've done over the years with neurodivergent kiddos, and I've kind of done that without even realizing it was a thing. Because
Right? Yeah.
I remember one of, oh my gosh, I miss this little guy so much. I wish I could have kept working. I would still be working with him today.
Oh.
I bet if he didn't have to move or if he hadn't moved. But I realized that he was very strongly connected to music. And
Mm.
so I made everything our interactions just based around music, and I subtly taught him social skills, and I mean how to self-regulate, and
Singing
I
to them and yeah,
yeah. And
yeah,
cuz
yeah.
he had quite a significant developmental delay. So it was just very very basic, but it was still just being able to what you call it, so just being able to reach him
Yeah.
and
That's
kind of
amazing that
understand
you
how
were able to
the world.
see that, to see
Yeah.
that in him and look and just make that connection like, oh, this kid learns through music. That's amazing,
That
right?
reminds me of
I bet,
how I
yeah.
developed, like, I learned to love social studies because I have my stories,
Right.
and I hated social studies. That it was my
Mm.
worst subject. I hated it. I still don't like it when it's taught by other people. But I learned that if I use my stories and learn like how things are happened and apply them in the context of my stories, I'm actually able. So I've done this for science. I've done this for math. I've done this for social studies. I've done this for English. Essentially, it's taking whatever I learn and applying it to my stories, or even doing the backwards, learning something specifically for my stories. I know a lot more about monarchies than general people because most of my countries are monarchies.
I like how you take what your aptitude is and try to create a like a parallel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's those little games and word association and those little mind games we make for ourselves just to make things fit and more interesting. See, I got the opposite. I love social studies, and I have a degree in political science and history. And oh my gosh, it's also my hyper focus. So you can only imagine how I'm feeling lately, right?
Mm-hmm.
With the elections and whatnot.
Uh,
And I'm working on the election. Like, honestly, it's like I feel like I'm one of those kids at Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and I'm just swimming in my hyper focus, right? And it's awesome. But I also realize like it's a recipe for burnout if I don't like get away and join reality. And like it's funny how you
I
fall into your hyper focus too. Like I always have loved social studies and loved politics and got my degree in that, but I never realized that I was so hyper fixated against with it because of my neurodivergence, right? Yeah,
well, in that sense, you can say it's an asset.
I guess it is an asset in
Yeah,
many ways. Yeah, in
to,
many ways it
to a
is.
limit.
To a
exactly.
limit, because
yeah,
I
Yeah.
yeah,
oh, well, it was Easter weekend, and my brother and I, it is to a limit because, and I have to be careful because I'm so passionate, but I have to remember other
Oh,
people have
yeah.
different ideas. So my brother and I had a bit of a heated discussion at Easter time about it. Oopsie. And I had to stop from saying, "You're an idiot and you have no idea because this is my hyper focus and this is what I do."
Hmm.
All right.
Have you
Yeah.
found that? So, have you found that? I mean, like your particular hyper focus and like strong commitment to your values has gotten in the way of a lot of your relationships
Absolutely.
and your
I'm very
ability to
right.
relate with people.
I'm a right fighter, right? And it's when I was a kid, I thought I should be a lawyer or a nun. So I guess I chose social work and activism because it's a little bit of both, right? And so I think it is in some ways like I did find that because as someone with ADHD, I'm a very right fighting person. It's black or it's white, right? Like there are shades of gray, but when something's wrong, it's really wrong.
Low tolerance for
Yeah, a
injustice.
low tolerance
Yes.
for abuse, bullshit, the whole thing, right? And I think maybe that's the SAF has been really good for me that way, like being able to see that injustices, disability justice, and the poverty and lack of housing and lack of accommodations for people. And so I, in many ways, like it's been a perfect fit. Um, thank God for you folks who like have been able to help me carve out those pieces that I'm not good at or that I don't care for, like the technology. Like Mike and Mary have been awesome at that, and you too, Alex, have been amazing. So, like, really, like that has, like, you, as somebody who's worked in the sector for so long, it's like we carve out jobs for job seekers all the time. And I had this epiphany over COVID. Why am I not carving this out? Like, I hate this. Like,
It's
I
funny how it
hate this
works.
so bad. Like, I would be so angry when I had to do Canva, like, so angry. And then
I
it's like,
I love Canva.
yeah, I know you do. That's why it works.
Yeah.
I think Carrie, I naturally picked up on that. So then I ended up finding myself hyper focused on Canva, and then That's
Yeah.
how I was able to make that zine for us because it was.
Yes.
I'm thinking,
Right.
yeah, I want to make something really awesome for Carrie that
I
she's
was,
gonna enjoy because I
yeah,
know she's
and
gonna
this shouldn't be
enjoy
for
this.
viewers as well. The first time that I started using Canva, I started making these really cool thumbnails and things, and I was like, I feel like a fraud because I like
Yeah.
creating these beautiful things, but like, it wasn't that hard for me.
And I think actually, like us with neurodivergence, we have to use that technology in in ways that help with those accommodations. Like I'm talking Chat GPT, right? Like I have all these thoughts, so sometimes I just turn it on and I just talk, right? Like I get all my thoughts out. This is what I want to do. This is what I need. Blah blah blah, and and then I'm like, can you please organize this in an outline that is understandable based on everything that I said? This is what it needs to look at. It has to include this. I'm really struggling with this. I need some extra help with this. And I put it into Chat GPT, and it's like, oh my God, it just helps me organize. Like, so for example, say the Rights to Ruth event,
Yeah,
the whole outline was done through Chat GPT, but it's helped me just stay organized, right? Like it was like on the 10th day, make sure you do this. 1 week before the event, make sure that this is done, right? Like I'm using it in a way that um, kind of basically caters to my weakness.
yeah, and I mean
Mm-hmm.
like that. That's a whole nother topic, but that is something that I like about AI is that it can be used as an accessibility tool.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just when you start using it to like produce.
Replace,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
exactly.
But the accessibility of, oh my God, I've got so many things going on. Please
Yeah,
take this information and organize it structurally. Tell me where to begin,
yeah,
has
exactly.
been an invaluable resource for me.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And
The
then
one
it's
that's
the lists, right? You can check it off on a list. I need lists. Make me a list.
Yes.
the one that I've found most helpful is the video speed up
Yeah.
because for me people talk way too slowly. So
Yes.
being able to put all the YouTube and whatever videos on at double speed, now I can watch stuff that before I would have turned off after a minute because it just wasn't holding me.
Or a podcast, right? Like put it
Oh
on
God, yeah,
1.25 or 1.5, and it's like, okay, I can get engaged here.
yeah.
Yeah, it's able to keep up with your brain, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and on the flip side, um, I have someone in my circle for whom they lower the speed because they're experiencing some cognitive decline, so that they need to take things slower so that they have a chance to pull in each word. Um, so in both directions, it's incredibly useful.
Hmm.
Absolutely, it is.
Well, and I
Absolutely.
can see it serving as like a way to level the playing field for everybody as an equitable resource.
It really
Yeah,
is. It really
yeah,
is.
yeah.
And you,
Between the knitting and the video speed up, I wish I had had that when I was doing school, because
oh,
like, the amount of lectures that I fell asleep in when I was trying to do university, it just, yeah,
I
That
finished
I believe.
university almost 30, well, 33 years ago. Okay. So that was a long time. But I have never read a book for pleasure since. And that breaks
mm,
my heart. Like I was a heavy reader in school and high school and read books and then university, but it burnt me out to such an extent that I have never been able to pick up a book for pleasure. Now I'll do magazines, newspapers, articles, but a real book for just pleasure is beyond me right now. Like, and it has been for 30 years. I tried in 2012. I got halfway through a book in 2012.
have you tried audiobooks? Because that's what I've been on
Yeah.
I
lately.
love audiobooks.
Audio for sure. Audio
Mhm.
for sure. When I'm driving, yeah.
Yeah,
I
Yeah,
miss
like
that's
I
the
I
way
miss
I'm
that.
on I think my fourth or fifth read through of the Murderbot Diaries on audiobook from the library, and it's just, oh, they're so good.
I'd have to be
Yeah,
driving to
Fascinating.
listen to it to
Yeah,
be focused.
I I have to be if I listen to an audiobook, I have to be doing something like cleaning or not
Cleaning,
driving.
Sure.
driving,
Yeah.
you're
Actually,
Yeah.
me,
focused,
it's
right?
the opposite. I can't be doing something
Oh wow.
Really? You have to
because
sit right there, hey, and
yeah, because my and that's part of the reasons why I don't do audiobooks because they're meant to do something same time. Uh, because as soon as I start moving, my brain activates.
interesting. I
Ooh.
wonder if that's the autism part.
Might be. Anyway, I am sorry for cutting this, but we do have
Oh
to
yeah, we're
keep going.
that
Yeah, no worries, no worries.
was
Uh,
Thanks,
great.
thanks for having me on.
yeah, we do have
Yeah,
one more
thank
question
you.
for you, Carrie.
Okay.
The question is, what do you wish you could do more of?
Ooh, like in what context?
Everything.
In what context?
That was the question. What context do you want to talk about?
Hmm.
All the things all at once.
Yeah, everything everywhere all at once. That was such a great one.
Yeah.
I did send you the questions earlier so you could think about it,
Yeah,
but
I know. Like, what could I do more of? I think really just being present, trying not to rush, right? Like being a bit more thorough, like knowing that I have this propensity is like to really ensure that I'm thorough. But what would I like to be more of? Well, honestly, I'd like to travel because when I travel, I am really the best me I am. Like even if it's a simple road trip, just to be able to travel and to have new experiences has been really that's one thing. And I think that's kind of goes back to social studies and stories and whatnot. I
yeah.
love people. I
My
love
mom
Yeah.
also has
Mm,
ADHD and she's much the same way. And
yeah.
another family friend is constantly on the road, and we like to joke she'll never settle down.
Yeah.
She also has ADHD.
And that's it. Like I just texted my daughter earlier, hey, May long weekend, do you want to drive out to Vancouver? I haven't gone on a road trip in a long time, so I'm hoping that that's going to be something that I can do more of.
I
Yeah.
hope
So
so too. I mean, it brings me a lot of joy when I see your pictures of you traveling to various places that you post on Facebook, and just seeing how much light is in your face.
yeah,
It's really
I
amazing.
think that um, it, it 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 represents freedom to me, right? Where I can just let my mind wander without parameters.
Hmm.
Driving is the same way for me too. When I'm driving, as focused as I am on the road, my mind can wander. So I like that too. So more opportunities for driving, travel.
All right. Mike, you are leading the next one. That is, who are we looking forward to join this collective?
Yeah. So, thank you, Kelly, for that fantastic conversation. So what we're looking for, to join the, in terms of people who might want to join the collective, are people who are passionate about advocacy and streaming, and people wanting to make a change. Um, and then it says Canadians.
Yeah.
Uh,
They're just little notes. You're supposed to talk yourself. Uh, so essentially, right now we are focused on Canadian advocacy.
yeah.
Perhaps one
Well,
day
yeah.
we will expand to the rest of the world. But for now, we are specifically looking for Canadians, hopefully Albertans, who want to uh, be a content creator or help with the content creations. Now, we aren't limiting it to just people with disabilities. We prefer, we have decided that as performers, we want people with disabilities at the forefront. However, in the background, we are going to request the help of allies as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that kind of looks like, I mean, if you know, if you care about the disability community and you want to help support the disability community, that's what an ally is. So, you know, and sorry, I had an idea come to my head, that I'm not gonna say out loud, on stream. So yeah, we are looking for allies and people who want to help in the background. Um, there are some things that we don't want, and that is in terms of people who will be streaming or creating content. We will not allow or tolerate hate speech, extremist views, and also Kick, which is a streaming platform. We do not agree with the values that the platform has and that the people associated with that platform have. So we are not. We would rather not have folks who want to stream on Kick. As well, it's more that the platforms won't allow sexual content, so explicit sexual content. You can talk about sexual autonomy, but that is about it. Because otherwise, you would get kicked off the streaming platform that you're on. So yeah.
But even if you end up streaming on a platform that does allow sexual content, we still would rather that it's not a touched
Part of
subject.
the, yeah.
Mhm.
But one thing that we are very passionate about is sexual autonomy, especially for people with disabilities, so that you are free to talk about as much as you want.
And sexual orientation and gender identity, of course.
Yeah.
Mhm. All right. Does anyone have anything else to add?
1 + 1 that equals 2. Oh, not that kind of ad. Sorry.
I
Uh,
just want to thank you for inviting me on. I think this is really cool and I'm learning a lot.
we're glad.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you for agreeing to be on.
Mm-hmm.
And you're one of us, one of us. You're so welcome in the disability community.
Thank you.
All
All
right.
right.
So we are going to say goodbye to our viewers.
Goodbye to
Bye,
our viewers.
everybody. Bye, viewers.
So goodbye,
So
everyone.
long,
We will
farewell,
be
auf
posting
Wiedersehen, good
this.
night.
We will be keeping this live up and running, as well as those watching on Twitch.
We're
It will
not
be.
up and running. We're not gonna. The live's gonna stop. It's not gonna be up and running, but
Sorry.
it will be up on our channel.
Yeah, up on our channels, and for Twitch, because Twitch only keeps lives for 2 weeks, I am going to be putting it on my Ray and Ali channel as a video.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you for watching, everybody.
Thanks,
Goodbye.
everyone. Bye bye.
Care, folks.